Hey guys, I'm Sarah Louise. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. So yeah, I've just basically been posting quite a bit on my travel channel because it's been summer and I've wanted to get out and explore, and then I've never got any space on my phone. And that's stopped me from making videos for quite a while now. But I have a new Mac, and so I'm using QuickTime. It's not that great. I'm still learning how to use it, where to look and stuff. But it will be good until I've sorted out my phone and cleared enough space to start making videos more regularly. But I also just didn't really have any strong drive to make videos. It tends to just, make them when I feel that there's something to say. I've got some inspiration. But anyway, I had a really big insight about manifesting. I call them manifesting death loops, where you just can't seem to get out of something. You just get in that same repeating thing, and it doesn't matter what you do. You just keep on ending up in the same place. And I came to this realization actually from something as simple as my hair. So if you go back over my videos for the past maybe year and a half, you'll see that I've had a similar kind of shade of, I'd call it mousy brown, which is actually my natural color, pretty much, is the mousy brown. And I don't really like being a mousy brown. I like having a bit more going on. So I tend to kind of swing between being blonde and being darker. I kind of like both. But one thing I don't want to be is mousy brown. And you might be like, I really like that colour on you. I think it suits you. And that's fair enough. But it's just that's not the colour that I wanted to be. So over the last year and a half, I've probably been to about 5 different hairdressers. And it's not that I think they do a bad job. I think, I like the cuts they've done. And I think they've done a decent job. They've just not done what I've asked for. I just kept on ending up with this colour time and time again. And I've gone in with some really extreme references. I've gone in with some really, really dark colours. I've gone in with some, like, the last reference, if I show it to you, maybe I'll try and put it on the screen. You wouldn't believe that that's what I asked for, and this is what I walked out with. The whole sort of front here was supposed to be bright blonde, and down here. And then this was meant to be, like, really dark, kind of like a nice contrast. And, I think everyone would agree that I've just got a mousy brown shade yet again. And every time I go to these hairdressers, I'm like, I keep ending up with mousy brown, and that's just what I don't want. So just whatever you do, I just don't want mousy brown. I want to be dark, or I want to be light. I just don't want to be in the middle. And I don't know what it is. Every time I've walked out, and within a few weeks, I end up with this same colour. And it's like I've just been stuck. I've been unable to get out of it. And it's not that my hair doesn't. And this is, I think, what's made me realise more. Because I think when I get stuck in a loop and it's money or it's relationships, I think it's so much easier to see it as like outside of oneself. But when it's my hair, I've literally had all these colours. It's not that my hair can't take it, because I had absolutely no problem before the last year and a half with getting what I asked for. And I've had really dark hair, I've had really blonde hair, so my hair takes it. It's not that I have a problem with my hair, that it can't take it. I'm just, for some reason, manifesting, walking out of that salon and ending up with the same thing. And I can see this, though, broader in life. And that's what I mean. I had this realisation, and then I saw how I was also playing out similar things in so many other areas in life, or I have in the past. So even with length, I had this thing where I just couldn't get my hair to grow past a certain length. And when I was young, I used to have really, really, really thick, almost unmanageable hair, and it was really, really long, and it grew really quickly. And obviously I've gotten into a loop where I'm just like, oh, my hair doesn't grow past this certain point. So some of it is telling a story that you don't want. That is a part of it. By going around and affirming all the time to yourself, like, I every time I have a haircut, I go into my groups of friends and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I've just gone for another haircut. And, I went to somebody really expensive and I've just ended up mousy again. So I'm retelling the story that I don't want. So that's part of it. But there's also more to do with energy, and the energy of frustration. And I think that's key. And I'm realizing how that energy of frustration and not being able to be mindful, present, and happy with the present energy, and always like being frustrated in that energy, is a real block. That frustration is a killer of an energy, in my opinion. And I can see how I've done this in other areas. So when I was younger, like 21 to mid 20s, I used to do modeling, and I always wanted to be super skinny. And I probably, to be honest with you, I think I probably manifested being a model, because I really was not somebody that at school you would ever think would do it. And I think I just decided I wanted to one day, and because I was getting into fashion photography, and I just decided that I wanted to become a model alongside being a photographer. And I think I did somehow make myself into that, because I really, like, that was not my identity growing up. I probably would be the last person you would ever think to do it. Yeah, I ended up probably being the only one from my school that did it. And I just decided to, and I probably, in all fairness, never really had the body type. Like, I was slim, but there's a difference between, being slim and being naturally like model slim. So for me, it was always an effort, really. And the problem was that the more I didn't want to be, the more that I was so frustrated and upset if I gained any weight. And the more I wanted to be like really, really thin, the more difficult it was. And I do remember a point, towards the end of doing that. I only did it for a few years because I didn't want to do it long term. I did it alongside photography, but there did get a time where I just was stuck in an awful loop, right, where I just could not lose weight. It did not matter what I did. Like, if I didn't eat all day, because then I'd like be so obsessed with food that I would just binge, and it didn't matter what I did, what exercise I did, what crazy diets I did. I just couldn't seem to shift losing that bit of weight that I'd gained, right? And I know it was energetic, because actually now I have actually no problem. Like, back then I was going to the gym every single day. And now I feel like I can actually keep like a nice slim figure by, working out 3 times a week and just eating well. And it's so natural. I don't even crave food anymore. But back then, because I was so desperate, all I could do was think about food. It was just all I thought about 24/7. I was just stuck in a loop, right? And I've also been stuck in this loop with romance, where I had a long distance connection and I just couldn't get it to ground. I couldn't get us to come together in the physical. There was always some reason why we couldn't be in the same place at the same time long term. And what I came to realize was that I was creating these loops, the same as I'm creating this loop with this hair, by going on about it but from a sense of frustration. So the key energy was frustration, and I would be frustrated, and then I would either like talk about that story in a frustrated way, or I would feel frustrated. And what I've come to realize about the energy of frustration, it's just like a block. It is a real block to your desires, because it's just an energy that stops what you want coming in when you're just looping this frustration energy. And I feel that a really, really, really key part to manifesting the life that you want and going into the life that you want and having those kind of radical changes is to actually be happy and present with your life as it is. I remember when I just could not lose that weight that I wanted to lose, I wouldn't buy myself clothes. So I went for a few years because I had such unrealistic expectations of how skinny I wanted to be. So even though, I was still slim by most people's standards, to me, it wasn't thin enough. And so I wouldn't buy any clothes for years and years and years, right? Because I'll be like, I'm not buying them in that size. They have to be an 8, or I'm not buying them, because I'm not buying clothes for this size because I don't want to be this size, And in a way, you could say that was what people say. It's living in the end, right? I'm not buying those clothes. I would even sometimes buy smaller clothes that I couldn't wear. And you would kind of say that should have worked because I'm buying the things that I want to be, But it didn't work for me because I wasn't accepting, like I was so desperate to be there that I just couldn't make peace and be mindful and grateful and accept where I am. And for me, I've realized that maybe it doesn't work for all of you guys, but for me, the key to my journey is kind of acceptance first. And from that acceptance, that mindfulness and that kind of real plateau of energy, it's very easy to build on that then and to jump into kind of, I feel great as I am, but this is like this is the cherry on top. To me, that seems to work so much better than not accepting at all what I have and just almost dissociating. To me, acceptance has been such a key energy to bring in those things, because not accepting it just leads to a feeling of frustration, in my opinion, because you not accepting what you have, you constantly wanting to be here, but you've not manifested here yet. So this gap in between is just pure frustration, and frustrating energy. And I just think it's like a block, and it just stops anything coming in that you're trying to create. I had it with hair length as well. I think my hair's starting to grow now because I think I've just kind of letting go, surrender, being mindful, being present, gratitude. And it's why I think all these things are so important to do along with manifesting. I think when people are manifesting, they get so caught up with just living in the end and affirming, that I think people miss the joy of the moment, you know, the mindfulness, the presence. And in my opinion, that is actually a state that's more productive to even manifest and build and grow on. Plus, you know, we should enjoy the life now. You know, when I was not buying any clothes for years because I was adamant that I was only buying clothes when I reached a certain size that I wanted to be, I wasn't enjoying the moment. I wasn't embracing myself. I wasn't grateful. I wasn't in any way loving who I was, loving my life, enjoying that moment there. I was just always like, well, I can't enjoy this because I have to be there. I'm not accepting this at all. And some people do tell you to do that, don't they? I don't accept this at all, only accept that. But in my opinion, when I start to have, you know, more gratitude and more enjoyment for what is, it allows me to build on that and to slowly move myself towards something that's even more optimum. So anyway, I hope that helps some people, or some of you can resonate with that. I'd love to hear your opinions on it in the comments below. Sorry, it was a bit rambly. I'm just getting back into making videos again, but I hope to try and stick to being a bit more regular with them. And anyway, bye for now.